seeing the benefit and the value it brings from the injury prevention side, what were the next steps from UTSA to now at NC State, where you said there's more applications for this? There could be more areas that we could use this for recovery, travel. What were your next steps from proof of concept, validation, and then forward?
I think it's all just communication and conversation, because the first thing when you introduce any new idea, let alone a product, with a new staff, you want to create buy-in, right? And so I never wanted to sort of force on them this thing that I believed in necessarily, but I wanted to introduce it to them and then let them try it, let them get their hands on it, let them ask questions, you know, just let it grow organically.
Organic growth.
Let it grow organically, and that's what's happened. So when I first got here, it was something that I wanted to introduce. It was one of the few things that I was like, okay, any institution where I go, I want to introduce this thing and see if we can create some momentum. Blood flow restriction is another thing. It's going to be a staple anywhere I go.
Remember when I met with Justin, he had the OG original sample pack from 5 years ago.
And so, but again, you know, we have a really talented group. We got a bunch of good people and smart people, and so I didn't want to disregard what they had been doing that had been working for a long time. So what I did, though, again, I wanted to make sure that they were open to new concepts, new ideas, and that they had their voices heard, and they were able to provide feedback on something new. And so introduced it on a small scale, gave it to a few people, gave it to a few teams, asked for their feedback. We did some introductions, did some education on potential applications, and you know, again, one of the beauties of the product is that it's something that's simple enough that, you know, even our athletes can grasp it.
It's almost dummy proof.
Yeah, but also it's complex enough, and the applications are varied enough that, you know, we have a PhD athletic trainer on our staff that wants to explore, you know, get really granular and wants to explore all the potential applications and the mechanisms of how it's effective and all those things. So it fits a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. So that's really the road that we've taken to implement here at NC State. It's just how do we introduce a technology? How do we communicate its value? But how do we also give them an opportunity to see for themselves that this is something that's valuable, and they've seen that.
What are you guys looking for in terms of recovery as far as measurements and the outcomes, and you know, kind of how you track it and justify it?
Yeah, I think in medicine in general, there's the empirical data and the evidence, but you know, physicians always say, treat the patient, not the data or the information or the image is usually what they say. And so we are in a people business, and so student athlete feedback is paramount. So if you have student athletes who, after competition or after workouts, say they're less sore, they're less swollen, they're less stiff after bus rides and plane rides, and you know, they're not experiencing a lot of these negative phenomena from traveling or from playing, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of stress, then I think that's really solid support for what you're doing, especially with the underpinnings, like I said, of the scientific evidence we know about how effective the product is. We get a lot of good feedback from student athletes. We get a lot of good feedback from the athletic training staff about the effectiveness of the product. So I think that's a good proof of concept as well to sort of validate the use.
Dan, give us your top reasons why Firefly's become one of the key parts to y'all's recovery efforts.
I'd say it's effective, it's adaptable, it's scalable, and it's affordable at the end of the day.